You're listening to the PlantX podcast, the digital face of the plant-based community. Join us as we explore the inner workings of all things plant-based, from the products and lifestyles to the people behind them. Each week, we'll be touching on what's new in the ever-expanding world of PlantX and chat with everyone from entrepreneurs and chefs to nutritionists and scientists. Whether you follow a strict plant-based diet or just want to learn more, you're invited. Now welcome our host, the man who combined his love of e-commerce and the plant-based lifestyle to create PlantX, Sean Dollinger.
Hey everyone, welcome to our first episode of our PlantX podcast. And we're the digital face of the plant-based community, and now we have our own podcast. So thank you very much for joining today. Just to give you a bit of context, and the reason why we think that it's so great to do these is to make our shareholders, investors, potential people who are just interested in PlantX and what we're all about, to be able to feel connected to the company, to add some context, some background on who's involved in our company, as well when we go ahead and do a press release, why it's important. When we do a press release, it really needs to be to the point. That's what the regulators state, right? And it's nice after that to really dig deeper and give everybody background. So again, thanks for joining. And we want it to be interactive. Your time's extremely valuable. And when we do things like this, we want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So, each show, we're going to have a few giveaways where you could go ahead and whatever platform you're using, because we're streaming pretty much everywhere we can, and give your feedback, what we could do better, what we do great, and we'll pick a few random people each week for the giveaways. So at the end of the show, towards the last couple of minutes, we'll tell you what we're giving away, but please be active, and it's great. Thanks again. Today we have Julia Frank, our CEO. She's actually over in Germany. And she has an incredible background. She comes from one of the best companies in the world as far as organization and running BMW. And she's got a phenomenal background, really interesting experience, as well as, she was the first employee ever at PlantX. She started right around December, January of last year. And, she's now pretty much fully plant-based. So it's going to be great to have her on. So what we thought would be pretty cool is to start each episode with a consistent question. So it gives our viewers and readers a little bit of context on who we're interviewing. I love coffee no matter where I am in the world. I go out and try to explore where the best coffee is. And kind of funny that you always think that you could outdo a cup of coffee. But, I'm constantly on that mission. And so I thought a fun question to ask when people come on the show is, how do you take your coffee? I love my coffee just black, and sometimes hot, sometimes cold, but mostly black. And, let's start this first episode off with Julia. How do you take your coffee?
Yeah, actually also black coffee, Americano. So black coffee without anything.
Awesome. And do you do that for like health purposes, or why just black?
Actually, it's interesting. I've never used sugar because I just don't like it too sweet. Also, I know especially like refined sugar is really unhealthy. So a long time ago, I would drink milk because of my parents are quite old school, and they didn't really know it better. So they are like, hey, milk, that's healthy. So I just drank like regular cappuccinos, and then later I tried oat milks. But when I lived in Spain, it was hard to find good milk alternatives. So I just drank black coffee out of convenience. And in Spain, there's espresso everywhere. So I got really used to it. And now I just really enjoy a good black coffee.
Cool. Yeah, I know it's pretty amazing how you do that transition where you try to hide the taste, and then, all of a sudden you truly enjoy that taste of coffee. So yeah, thanks for letting us know that. And I know you've traveled a lot. Can you talk about where you grew up?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in a smaller town close to Munich in Bavaria, which is south of Germany, as you already mentioned. I'm based in Germany. And yeah, Munich is a well-known town and the home of the Oktoberfest. Also a very famous soccer team, Bayern Munich, and yeah, BMW. And yeah, I'm really proud of my Bavarian roots and its culture, I gotta say.
Yeah, no, everybody knows Oktoberfest. So yeah, that's pretty neat. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. And what's your background in business? Like, what brought you to this pathway of PlantX?
Sure. So yeah, half of my family was in the medical field, and the other half actually founded a large company, which goes back generations. Like actually, I think to the year 1832. It's quite crazy. And nevertheless, my aim was always to become a doctor, actually. But then I did an internship where my dad was working as the head doctor of a hospital, and although it was really really interesting, it kind of affected me, seeing all the people suffering. I kind of couldn't get rid of the thoughts of the kids and people being sick. And yeah, since I was also interested in economics, I thought it would be a better idea to take that part and yeah, also be like more flexible in that field. So that was why I decided to go for like economics.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's a bit of a pivot. So how did the economics part happen?
Yeah, actually, I was in a group of friends who were in an entrepreneurial environment already, and yeah, it just seemed better being in the economics world. And in the medical field, I really have to say, like my dad had a great job, and it's his passion, and he really loves it. Like he still loves it. But he was or is still on call like 24/7, and he would basically have to go to the hospital in like the middle of the night. And yeah, I mean, it becomes your life. And I always knew I wanted to live abroad and do my own thing. So I decided to study economics in Munich. And then I went to work for a company that actually had the franchise rights for Versace in the Bahamas.
Yeah, and obviously, I'm thankful that you ended up in the Bahamas because obviously a good friend of both of ours introduced us, and yeah, no, it's great, and maybe you could give some background on BMW, you know.
Yeah, when I get back from the Bahamas, I worked for BMW for 4.5 years, and I think after around like 1.5 years, I got kind of promoted and the chance to move to Barcelona. So that's how I ended up in Spain, to do an MBA through BMW, which was actually quite cool and really, really amazing. So I was really thankful for that. And yeah, that MBA lasted almost 2 years, and I had a focus on digital entrepreneurship. And yeah, at BMW, I was working at a new startup department for new mobility services like car sharing and digital parking service. And after I finished my MBA, BMW actually asked me if I wanted to move to Berlin because they started a joint venture with Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, for mobility services. So I really had like great opportunities to yeah, develop my career at BMW. So that was really amazing.
I'm sure we could do a podcast just on your job titles.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. And
Yeah.
no, go for it.
Yeah, so actually, now you're probably wondering why why yeah. So I wanted to get back to the fact how we actually met up. So because I wanted to move back to the Bahamas because I mean, like I said, I was with BMW for like 4.5 years, and I was like, I had many different job titles, and I was like, no, I like still want to like go for my own thing. And yeah, I wanted to go back to the Bahamas, and our mutual friend, she knew that, and she said, hey, there's a guy I know I know you're like healthy eating, you're working out, and you're used to like building up companies. So I need to introduce you. And yeah, that's actually how we got connected last year.
Yeah, no, as soon as we spoke last time, I knew you were the perfect person, especially you started getting into the whole thing we always discuss about lifestyle. And that's really why we formed PlantX, right? To make everybody welcomed. And, you know, it was funny, even on that one, you went into a whole explanation of, yeah, I still have fish sometimes, I still have all of these things, but, you know, knowing the lifestyle you lived and the education piece we wanted to bring to PlantX, I really thought right away that you were the perfect person for this position.
Yeah, and yeah, when you called me and told me about the company and the whole idea and what you wanted to do, I was already, I would say like 80% like vegetarian. But that call like made me start like researching the topic to learn as much as I can. And I knew I have to be like expert in that field and market segment. And I watched documentaries and read like, for example, like about like milk production and even like the environmental impact. So one example, I mean, I learned like soy is a big reason why the Amazon is being cut down. So like 80% is based on planting soy for like a mass animal production. So meat is just such an unsustainable source of nutrition for our huge human population. And it has such a negative impact on our environment. So I like really liked your idea, and you know that's why I was like fully in right away and decided like also to like dive in more in that topic.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. And then, you know, at PlantX, it's not about like converting people, you know, it's about creating a welcoming environment, education, teaching people exactly what you just went through, you know, that you just explained. Really, we want to form an environment. And, you know, it's such a hot topic right now, no matter who I meet, you know, whether it's an 18-year-old or an 80-year-old, you know, they all have a story about plant-based living, how they want to try it, you know, so really at the end of the day, we want to be that source for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Like as a company, we don't want to exclude anyone. When you decide to only eat plant-based once or twice a week, it doesn't matter. For us, everyone can be a customer in the end. And I mean, of course, we want to make money with the company, and that's the good thing. Like every human being has to eat, and there's no black and white. So when you decide to eat meat once per week and the rest of the week plant-based, I mean, to us, like it's totally fine. Like so for us, like everyone can be a customer. So I think that's great.
Yeah, and I'm sure we have very different upbringings, right? I grew up in a environment where, you know, my parents obviously wanted the best for me, but, you know, sometimes there's a struggle on what's really healthy living. You know, some people don't know what it is. I could tell you I've been out for plenty of meals before where, you know, someone thinks they're eating healthy, but they're actually eating terribly, right? And they would have been better off with their first choice. And I'm so thankful for where I am today, but it's been a self-education process, being open to a bunch of different opinions and not just following one thing, making sense for myself, what's right, what's wrong based on what I've learned. So, you know, you growing up in Germany, what was it like for you?
Yeah, for me, I've always eaten very healthy. So my mom really loves to cook, and she would never take us to like fast food restaurants or open up cans of food. Everything was always fresh. It was really, really important to her. And to be honest, like if I go to McDonald's, I have like serious stomach problems afterwards. I never actually crave fast food because my stomach is so used to healthy and fresh food. And friends would sometimes ask me if I eat this way so I can, you know, like stay skinny or if I'm intentionally on a diet. But I don't need to lose weight. I just feel so much better when I eat healthy food, and that's the reason why I love it.
Yeah, and that's why the plant-based lifestyle is like so exciting. It's not just about environmental or health purposes. It's a combination of, you know, everything out there. And that's why we want to be known as the one-stop shop for everything plant-based.
Yeah, and I think in the end, like everyone needs to eat, and everyone really wants to be healthy. I mean, I don't know anyone who would tell me, no, I want to be unhealthy. You know what I mean? So I think we can basically have an impact on anyone. And the actually amazing thing is we can bring our platform to any country. I mean, as you know, our platform is already built up. We already have the technology, and it's only a matter of time before we expand to new countries. And in the end, it's not about just money, you know. It's about wanting to change the world, and the environment, the mass production of meat. There are so many things that don't have to happen nowadays, in my opinion. Um, People really have to change the way they think and the way they eat. And to be honest, as sad as Corona is, but it's really a great time for people to rethink their nutrition. And actually, it's a great time for PlantX as a company.
Yeah, no, that's great, Julia. Obviously we know that you're CEO of the company, but, maybe for the listeners and viewers today, maybe you could explain a little bit, what does that mean? What does your day-to-day look like? And what's the experience been like so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the most important thing is like spreading the word, like talking to retail brokers, investors, and yeah, stuff like that. Having many calls and interviews. Also, as you know, we're a small team, so I'm basically involved in everything. It's not like we have like 100 people working and there's nothing to do on the operational side for me. It's not like, hey, I'm the CEO, I'm done. Basically, each product I'm checking out that goes on the website, future corporations, and yeah, also we're opening up the flagship store soon, which is really exciting. So yeah, it's hard to say it's only this or that I do. There are tons of things to do.
Yeah, and you hit it on the flagship store, for example. We went ahead and press released that a couple weeks back, and just that one store brings us to $30 million plus in revenue with a company that just started in February. That's pretty remarkable. It's pretty incredible on what we've achieved in just a few short months. And COVID has changed the world as we all know it. Even if a vaccine comes out tomorrow or next month, obviously it has changed the way the shopper is. The people in our world want a healthier lifestyle, healthier living. So I think our timing couldn't have been more perfect on the launch of PlantX and what it stands for as a platform with meal delivery and everything else. Maybe you want to finish up today with whatever's on your mind and whatever you think.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, like I think it's really time to change the way like people's diet. I think also, like you mentioned, like Corona is like a great timing for us. Like it's really a time to like really think also what we do, like the impact that we have on the environment. So I think it's a great time for us. I'm really, really excited, and I can't wait to rock the plant-based industry. Like it's amazing. So stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, no, awesome, Julia. You've been doing a phenomenal job. And maybe before we just let you go, we have a few listeners who sent in a few questions, and I'll just ask you one of them, and I'll take the other two. Do you think the plant-based diet is here to stay, or is it just another fad? Maybe if you could give your answer on that.
No, like I just said, I think it's definitely something that will stay. It's not just a trend, and also like being in Germany, like based in Berlin, where like basically in every other street opens up like a plant-based restaurant. I think people really understand, especially during these like hard times and during Corona times, that we have to like rethink. We have to rethink how we live and what we eat. And I think there's like really kind of a transformation going on. So I'm 100% convinced that this is not just a trend. This will like stay, and that's why it's so exciting to work in this field, and that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, Julian. Thank you very much for taking time out of your Saturday evening to join us. And I just thought that you were the perfect first person to have on the show, first employee. And, obviously you're leading things over here. So, thanks again for taking the time.
Of course, thank you so much. It was amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers. So, there's a couple other questions. So before we really wrap things up here, we got asked, there's a lot of other publicly traded companies in the space, and, how do you stay competitive? And the great thing about what we do, and my 20 years of e-com experience, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're getting obsessed and loving a certain space that we're in. And here we're in this plant-based world that, for me, no matter what industry I've been in before, this is definitely the largest. Because if you think about it, every single person on the planet needs to eat food. Whether they believe in plant-based eating or not, everybody's going to have an interest in trying something new. And on our platform, when we have over 10,000 products, and the meal delivery, which is off to a phenomenal start. When we launch that into the US, I know it's going to be huge. We're constantly adapting, and we're not just a one-off brand. Modern Meat, God bless them, they've done incredible, and Beyond Meat and Impossible and all the other ones out there, right? But we are the platform. So if somebody doesn't like Beyond Meat, they've lost that client. For PlantX, every single person is a client. It's like a casino. The casino doesn't care if someone enters and plays blackjack or poker or roulette. They just want them to enter into the environment. At the end of the day, that's what PlantX wants. We want to form a community around like-minded individuals who want to live a better life or who are curious about the plant-based space. And that's what we're developing. And like I said, we just started in February, and to have the revenue we have, if you add up, the Very Good Butcher, Modern Meat, and Baby, here in Canada, our company has more revenue than all of them added together. And this is just the start. Some of these companies have already been around for 5 years, and they're doing a great job. But at the end of the day, I love the different verticals. Like last week, we just announced an acquisition out of the UK in plants. When we started, sure, we were called PlantX, but we never envisioned necessarily that we'd have this whole plant division to our company. And that's what's so incredible. So, when I thought of the name PlantX, I came up with it as, a cool name. And some people said, oh, you called it PlantX because of SpaceX. And when they mentioned that, I never even thought about it. And then I'm like, yeah, that's pretty neat. But then when our CMO, Alex Hoffman, started in February, she saw the X as a collaboration, as partnerships. And that's really what takes place on a daily basis in PlantX. And because we're in this exciting, growing environment, there's going to be endless opportunities. And this is just the start, honestly. And, for all the investors and shareholders who've already taken such interest to our company, we thank you very much. And please spread the word, because, PlantX eventually will be a household name in Canada and the US and around the world. So, just to go back to the giveaways for this week, the hottest seller on our platform over the last week has been, or I should say the last month actually, has been the Money Tree. And they're supposedly really, really hard to get. We put one aside for a lucky listener, viewer, shareholder, investor. So please, again, send your feedback. We want this to be about a community, about sharing. We always want to get better. If we didn't, we wouldn't take time out of our day to put together a professional vodcast like this, which will only get better. And so on that note, thank you once again for joining today. Stay curious, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Till next time, cheers.
So that's it for this episode of the PlantX podcast. Please check out www.plantx.com, the one-stop shop for everything plant-based and the digital face of the plant-based community. We have meal delivery, groceries, plant-based supplements and vitamins, and great ways to connect with like-minded individuals about the lifestyle we share. Stay healthy, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.